Okay, so what if I told you that the religion we now call Hinduism wasn't just one faith among many, but maybe, just maybe, it was once the only spiritual path on the entire planet? It's a massive idea, right? Well, today we're going to dive into this really profound thought, and it comes from one of modern India's most revered sages. So, the person who's guiding us on this incredible journey is Kanchi Mahapereva. His teachings, his thoughts, they were all carefully gathered into this amazing 7-volume collection called Devathan Chorale, which literally means the voice of God. And it's from this incredible well of wisdom that the big idea we're talking about today really comes from. And there it is, right there on the screen. This one sentence just flips our whole understanding of religious history on its head. The sage is basically saying that this Vedic way of life was, well, it was just the way. It was everywhere, so universal that it didn't even need a name. Why would it? There was nothing else to compare it to. A truly powerful thought. But is there any proof, any evidence to back this up? Well, you're not going to believe this, but it turns out there's a fascinating trail of clues. Little breadcrumbs, you could say, ancient echoes scattered all over the world that seem to point back to one single shared origin. So, come on, let's follow that trail. Okay, our first stop is ancient Egypt. We're talking way back, over 3,000 years ago. Archaeologists found this treaty, a deal between two kings. And get this, the treaty calls on two gods to be witnesses, Mitra and Varuna. Now, here's the kicker. Those aren't Egyptian gods, not at all. They are major, well-known deities straight out of the Vedic tradition. All right, let's pack our bags and jump clear across the globe to Mexico. During some excavations there, they found these idols, and I mean, they are unmistakably Ganesha. There's no doubt about it. And if that wasn't enough, there was an ancient festival celebrated there, and its name was Rama Sita. I mean, come on, the connection is just, wow, you can't ignore that. Next up, we're headed down under to Australia. Researchers there documented an Aboriginal ritual dance that they actually called the Siva dance. And if you look at the old photos, you can see it plain as day. The performers have painted a third eye right on their foreheads. That is like the most classic, iconic symbol of Lord Shiva. And believe me, the list just keeps going. I mean, in Peru, some think the name of the sun-worshipping Incas might actually come from Innan, which is a Sanskrit name for the sun god. Then, deep in the jungles of Borneo, they found an inscription talking about a king performing a Vedic yagna, a fire ceremony. And then there's Madagascar. An absolutely staggering 75% of place names there have Sanskrit roots. 75%! It's wild. So this brings up the big question, right? How? How is all of this even possible? How does one single deep truth travel all over the world and then morph into all these different local stories and rituals? To figure that out, we've got to look at how a myth is born. You could say its anatomy. Okay, so the key to understanding this is a concept called tattva. Tattva is a Sanskrit word, and it basically means the core principle, the absolute essence of an idea. Think of it like the pure philosophical truth. Now, these are usually really deep, abstract ideas. You know, not the kind of thing everyone can just pick up instantly. So here's how it happens, step by step. First, you have that pure truth, the tattva. Now, to make that big idea easier for people to understand and remember, it gets packaged into a story or maybe a ritual, something you can see and do. But then, time happens. Centuries go by, people move, cultures change. And what happens is, the story or the ritual, that part sticks around. But the original deep meaning, that tattva, it gets forgotten or maybe even changed. It's like the shell is still there, but the nut inside is gone. All right, let's look at a couple of mind-blowing examples of this in action. These stories are really going to show you how this works. It's almost like we're about to uncover the original source code behind some very familiar tales. So, deep in the Upanishads, these ancient spiritual texts from India, there's this really beautiful metaphor. Picture this. There's a tree, and on its branches are two birds. One bird is the jiva, which is like our life force. It's busy eating the fruit, experiencing everything the world has to offer. But the other bird, the atma, which is our soul, it just sits there, quietly watching. It's the silent witness to everything. Okay, now look at the connections here. Just look. Is it a coincidence that atma, the soul, sounds a lot like Adam, and that jiva, the life force, sounds like Eve? and that the Pipala tree, the tree of worldly experience, could become the apple tree, the tree of knowledge. The theory here is that as the story traveled across lands and languages, the names kind of stuck, but the deep philosophical meaning behind it all got transformed into the story many of us are familiar with today. Let's check out another amazing example. Down in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu, during the sacred month of Margaji, people recite these beautiful ancient hymns called the Thirupavai and the Thiruvenpavai. Now, hold that thought and let's go over to Thailand, because what we find there is, well, it's pretty remarkable. So in Thailand, during that exact same month, they have a huge festival. And what do they call it? Triumvavai and Tripavai. The sounds are so similar. But here's the thing. The people there today, they don't know the hymns anymore. They don't know the original meanings. And yet, for centuries, the name and the timing of the festival have survived. This is a perfect, living, breathing example of that shell we talked about, the ritual surviving long after the original meaning, the kernel, has been forgotten. So when you start putting all these pieces of the puzzle together, what do you see? It really starts to change how you look at the world, doesn't it? It stops looking like a bunch of separate, disconnected cultures and starts looking more like, well, like different branches growing from the same single ancient tree. And this brings us right back to where we started, to that profound idea from the sage. Maybe all these clues, the names, the rituals, the stories, maybe they're not signs of one culture spreading out and influencing another. Maybe, just maybe, they're echoes, faint echoes from a time long forgotten, a time when there was only one culture, one spiritual understanding for everyone. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much more of our shared human history is still out there, just hidden in plain sight, waiting right inside our oldest stories and our most familiar traditions, just waiting for us to rediscover it. Thank you so much for joining us for this one. Just so you know, Gyan Kosh is a multilingual channel. We're all about sharing spiritual wisdom, and we do it in English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Gujarati, and Bengali. And believe me, more major languages are on the way. Our whole goal is to bring you the timeless treasures of Sanatan Dharma in a way that's simple, clear, and really meaningful. On the channel, you'll find daily videos on all sorts of amazing texts and saints. Shrimad Bhagavata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, Lalita Sahasranamam, Devatan Choral, the Voice of God, Saints of Maharashtra, Saints of Bengal, and the story of Adi Sankara, and all of these are available in multiple languages. So if you found any of this valuable, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to Gyan Kosh. That way you'll get notified about all our daily videos. And of course, don't forget to like this, share it, and help spread this divine knowledge with your family, your friends, and your whole community. Let's all work together to keep the light of Sanatan Dharma shining bright.